this thing on? Yeah, it's on. We're recording. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Have you ever clicked a photograph and wished it looked more like art? What if I told you you could literally tear a Polaroid in half and melt that image onto a piece of watercolor paper, and it turns out something like this? Today I'm going to show you just a quick, easy way on how to do Polaroid transfers. There's nothing fancy here, but it is kind of magic how something digital can even turn into an analog piece of art. There's no Photoshop, just film and water. You guys ready? Let's do this. Alright, so I'm going to use the Polaroid Lab to print a Polaroid. There's a little button here on the side. Yeah, right here. It turns this thing on. Thing lifts up. It's real cute. It's got a little lens in there. And looks like I need to load some film. Hang on a sec. So let's get something else going on. This the black and white, and it doesn't transfer easily. At least I haven't been successful using it yet. I've only done a few. Got a little frustrated. Maybe I'll revisit that. But if you're just starting, I definitely wouldn't suggest starting with the black and white. You don't have the pigments on the emulsion that works the same as using the color I-type film. So this is what we're going to load in here today. These are expensive too, by the way. So, you know, it's like probably adds up to a couple bucks a print, I think. These packets. That looks good. Good to go. Alright, so we gotta pick our camera, go to the lab. You can choose, there's all these different options. You can do double, triple, all kinds of cool stuff. In this case, we're just gonna do a single photo. Let me choose a photo here real quick. And yeah, I decided to work with this one. I think this one might be kind of fun to transfer. And let's see here, making sure my screen is as bright as possible. I'm not, yeah, I've got the settings the way I want them. And then, yeah, night shift, true tone, we're good there. And let's do this. Okay, good to go. All right, put this thing downside so it stays dark. And let's let that percolate for about 15 minutes. Alright, so we're just waiting for the Polaroid to finish developing, and while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put the things together that I need to start doing the Polaroid transfer. It definitely does help to have a fresh Polaroid. I feel like printing one or making the photo and then going to do this process sooner than later is better. I think after you wait a day and sometimes longer, it gets a little bit more difficult to get the emulsion off the Polaroid. So that's why I'm printing this right away. That's the advantage of having a printer. I feel like I've heard some criticisms about people saying, well, if you're using the print lab to do a Polaroid transfer, then it's not original. There's multiple that you can make. I don't know, I'd still argue that no transfer is the same. It's actually, each one is so unique and so different, so I don't really worry about it. It doesn't bother me, but hope it doesn't bother you. So a couple things that we need to do the transfer. You need, obviously, a Polaroid camera, a Polaroid back, or a print lab. Then we're going to need to transfer this onto something, and there's a couple of different mediums that you can use somewhat successfully. I think that using watercolor paper is the best. It's just, I think it's the best result. So I'm going to back this up. We're getting a little tight in here, huh? A little tight? A little close? There we go. I think that's a little better. Yeah. Yeah, that was getting a little close, weren't we? A little bit better, huh? So we're going to need some watercolor paper. We're going to need at least one tray. I actually use 2 trays. One for hot water. We're going to get that water hot right now at 185 degrees, and then I use about a room temperature water to do a second step, which I'll get to in a minute. And then there's a couple other tools we'll use. We'll use a brush, sometimes some tongs. If you can get some rubber protected tongs, those are good. There's some other more advanced techniques that you can use. We're not going to get into that now, but there's a book I'm going to reference later as well that I've had since college about 25 years ago, and I still reference it today. It's got some cool tips. Lastly, if you're cool with gloves, I might as well, I'm going to put on some gloves. You might as well just be careful. You don't need to. All right, so I'm going to peel off a piece of paper here. Get this ready for the Polaroid. I'm never gonna pronounce this correctly, but this is Hanamule, their watercolor 300 gram paper. Is that right? Hanamule? Yeah. Whatever's. It's cool stuff. Is that gonna focus? Can you get that? Oh. Let's check out our Polaroid. Wonder if this thing is turning out okay. Almost done. We'll give that another minute. Actually, while I'm waiting, I'm gonna go heat up some water. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Here it is. Looking good. Let's go ahead and cut this thing up. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut along the edges of the image I see. Yeah, just cutting along the edges here. Bingo. Bingo. Bongo. Bam. Alright, I gotta switch camera angles here so you can check out what I'm doing. Be right back. Okay, let's throw some water in here. Like I said, 180, 185. I think it's what's recommended to help separate the emulsion. Time to glove up. Actually, I'm gonna wait for a second. You know why? Because I gotta wait about 5 minutes for this to start cooking. So while this thing is soaking, I am just moving some water over the print just to kind of encourage the two layers to separate. How's this for something? I just realized I forgot to actually separate the two pieces. Should have done that first. Let's see if I can still do it. This is actually where you want to make it nice and easy. Hopefully I didn't mess this up. Oh, I did. And I'm okay with it. I like that. It's actually nicer when this thing comes off on the plastic on this side. Yeah, that buddy's coming off quick. That's cool. Well, there's ways to do it. There's ways to not do it. And that's not the way to do it. But you can see me using the brush. There's some people that are like really delicate with their emulsions, and I am. Just you can tear these really easily. As you can see, I messed it up the first time. I didn't even peel this apart before throwing it in the water bath. Ridiculous. I guess that's what makes me human, capable of making mistakes. Here we go. Alright, so I got this guy off. And the reason why I have this second water bath is it's a cooler temperature, it's easier to work with. Like I said, I've got these tongs you can use to transfer this. I'm just going to put it on the back of my brush here. Just like so. Get that little buddy into here. With a slightly cooler temperature, it's a little bit easier to work with, and if the emulsion does end up sticking to the backside with all the chems, it's just less of a messy water to work with. So let me get this thing, let me clean up my space here. Okay, so what not to do with a Polaroid, right? Just kidding. So this is kind of the challenging part for me, I think for any of us. So what we're trying to do here is get this thing kind of untangled and ready to accept the paper. Woohoo! Come on, buddy. I might need to add a little bit more warm water. It's getting a little bit fussy. We'll see here. Scoop this little buddy underneath the emulsion. Just like so. Come on. Finding some left-handed and then using the right hand with a brush. That's fun. Oh, and you're stuck again. Ain't that fun? I'm so glad I'm not making this look easy. There are other videos out there I've seen, and the way it's described sometimes in like the books I've read, it's like, oh, no big deal, but this actually is kind of hard to do. I'm not gonna lie. I love how imperfect these can turn out. It's kind of the point in some ways. So now what I'm gonna do is work on anchoring this guy where I want it. Just square that up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and mosey this on out of the water. And what I can do is even kind of, well, that just worked out just fine, didn't it? Sometimes I'll dip the paper back into the bath just to try to encourage or foster the emulsion to go where I want it to go, but this might have enough water on it to move for me. Yeah, it's looking okay. So I'm just using a little soft-haired brush. I like this width for a brush. Just add a little bit more water. What I don't want to do is tear the emulsion like I did here. This already tore apart, but darn, that's pretty good. I actually kind of like that on my brush a little bit. This is also a pretty coarse or textured watercolor paper I'm using. I kind of want this to kind of wrinkle up right there. Yeah. Let's play with her jacket too. Push that in right there, just to show a little bit of texture, dimension. But this is looking good. Oop. That went just a little bit off. There we go. Like, you always have to pick a stopping point. It's like, what point do I stop? So this I can sit down and let it dry. I'll set this on just a paper towel to help kind of absorb on the bottom, just to kind of help absorb some, excess moisture that's on the watercolor paper. All right, let's get some paper towels underneath here. Help encourage this to dry. All right, guys, that's it. Here it is. Let's check out the finished work here. From snapshot to gallery wall, right? I don't know. This is a trick that most photographers don't even know exists. Hope you enjoyed watching this. I've linked all the products. I haven't linked all the products. I've linked most of the products that I used in this video in the description below. So check that out if you're interested in giving this a shot sometime. It's super fun. Please tag me sometime. I'd love to check out what you made, what kind of chaos you created. And if you found this video fun and interesting, please subscribe and follow along. I've got some more stuff coming your way. Here's a book that I talked about, Kathleen Carr, Polaroid Transfers. So good. Wealth of knowledge in here and some really good inspirational examples and ways that you can really push this. Sorry for messing that up, tearing that thing. I can't believe I threw the Polaroid into the hot water bath before tearing apart the two plastic pieces. Right, so there's an emulsion in the center, and then there's these two plastic pieces that are used to make that Polaroid and sandwich all the stuff together. It's good to tear it apart first, but give it 15 minutes to develop, just after you make the print. And if you do shoot something out in the field, be sure to try to get back into the lab or, do the transfer within a day. The sooner the better. I think it's easier when it's more fresh. All right, that's it. Until next time, stay curious, keep clicking.